Good evening to everyone. I think after a very long time, not long ago, I had delivered a lecture on motherhood penalty, and yet again I stand here to do the same. And before I begin, I would like to give a disclaimer. What I share, what I have to say are collective feelings and experiences of most of the women that are around me. And they all think that motherhood actually is a very difficult thing to do. And if motherhood is difficult, then working mother, I think, is a tougher job to do. And if you think that it's a tougher job, you expect better rewards. And if you expect better rewards, then you realize that if you're getting the smallest piece of that cake, then it is being unfair to you. And then you look around and it seems to be happening to everyone. And when it is happening to everyone, you realize how are you all dealing with it? How are you not questioning this fact? And then you want to put it in a definition. So that is what motherhood penalty is. Motherhood penalty, when defined in generic terms, may mean a lot of things. It is pay gaps, stringent evaluations, slower promotions, or you are being hired for the post that you don't deserve, you're getting fired, and so on and so forth. But I think it doesn't end there. There are rampant inequalities that exist. Like suppose for me, myself, that I have all throughout my life struggled so much to achieve where I am and to reach there. Like we all, for that matter, I think we start with child infanticide, then we have early childhood marriages, then we have stereotypical career choices, and then you reach and then you become a mother and you think now it's fine, right? We should get what you deserve. But no, you have to start from scratch again. Again you begin. Not because you're not mentally or physically capable, but society thinks otherwise. And then not at home or, in offices. And then you are reduced to this machine, childbearing and rearing machine. And you are exactly like let me share you certain experiences. So when I conceived, one of my batchmates told me that because you'll be going on longer leaves, you'll actually miss out on a lot of opportunities. And that was very new to me initially when I heard that statement, because when I actually thought of becoming a mother, I did not have any notions as such. I thought it is just another chapter in my life and it will end. And that is when he said, no, you'll miss out on a lot of opportunities and it will actually put a break in your career. And I did not pay attention to his practical advice. I thought he's bluffing. And then it so happened that my administration department thought of transferring me. And then it hit me. I said, why are they transferring me? Because I have given, it's not due. And transfer in government is actually supposed to be a very big thing. It is like a punishment because your career is hampered. The next post, you are not able to perform, you are not able to showcase your work, and it becomes. And post that, now when I stand here after 2 years after my childbirth, I have similar such instances happening to my friends. One of my friends had to join back within 14 days of her childbirth. Imagine 14 days, because she was posted in a lucrative, so-called lucrative post, a nice post, and because she could be transferred, she had to go there and say that, okay, I'm going to come back. One of my friend was about to give birth, she was about to go on leave, and she had to stop her transfer from happening. So such instances tell us that this keeps happening to us so frequently, and then you realize it is not just about economic setbacks. It is about systematic behavioral mindset issues. It is just not pay gaps or slower promotions. There are severe data gaps, and this I want to underline and highlight that we have severe data gaps, we have unconscious biases, we have health hazards, we have construed definition of leave. Like I'll tell you further also, like what actually matters. Like when I became a mother, that is when I realized what actually mothers go through. Imagine, for women out there also don't know what motherhood penalty is. So did you ever think about if this campus is suitable for women, specifically pregnant women? And we don't know, because we don't have any studies, we don't have any surveys, we don't have any analysis, we don't have any proper papers out there who will discuss such things. Some random lectures by some officer who's delivering certain one of her experience, and that is it. That is when you realize. But one of the books that I was reading, that a CEO of a major company got pregnant and she wanted to park her car, and she had to actually go to the other end of the parking lot because there was no parking space reserved for her. So such are the instances actually we are looking back. And policy makers, regulators think that it is, we have made a policy, we are giving you all the benefits, so it must be enough. But no, it is not enough, because we also live in a society which is which has such cutthroat competition. All of us are very ambitious, and we want to reach a level, and therefore we are trapped. And that is one of the most important things that I want to discuss today. A vicious cycle wherein all women are trapped after they become mothers. And it starts with being inefficient or being unproductive after you become the mother. And second thing that leads is that you become that as if you have made a choice. Even if you have made a choice, that means you have put your motherhood above your career. And that lands you in a space where you become less serious towards your work. It is construed, that notion is construed. The moment I choose motherhood, the choice, I actually question that choice also. I think that thing also is not to be said, that you make that choice and then you put it above your career. And ultimately losing that promotion, losing that pay scale, losing that post, it's not that. It's about losing to be a decision maker, losing to put that perspective out in the society. And that is why I think it is very important that we actually go out there and tell our stories. So what does this viciousness do? It traps us further. It traps us further in an identity, a role performance, and that role performance is being mother. You are mother first and everything else second. The woman who chooses to be otherwise, she's frowned upon. If she doesn't sacrifice enough, she's frowned upon. And at the end of the day, we get caught in that web of things, and we don't know what to do. And similar role, if you think about it, the fathers are actually, the diminished role of father, I think, in our society cannot be explained in any other situation. They are onlookers, they stand at the periphery. In literal sense also, like even after childbirth, I have never seen father or husbands helping their spouses in the same manner which should be done actually. And they are providers, they are onlookers. So I feel that single-handedly handing over the responsibility to one person is something that needs to be questioned. Look at our society, we celebrate everything. We celebrate childbirth, before childbirth, post childbirth, naming this, that, and when it comes to being judged or being blamed, it is the mother. Oh, your child is not eating properly, blame the mother. She or he is not playing properly or not growing well or has health issues or weight issues, blame the mother. So how can one person be told or be given so many responsibilities? I fail to understand the role of society in this. And that brings me to the most important thing of our discussion, that being guilt. And guilt is something so conditioned in us, it is so ingrained and nurtured and for centuries so in us, that for myself, like, I think I'm educated, I think I'm well placed, I am well informed, I can be anywhere I want and everything. I'm the most privileged person out there. And yet when I step out, I'm always thinking, what is my daughter doing? How is she doing? Is she eating well? Am I doing enough? I literally plan everything for her. Like, I design her meals, her chores, what she should wear, what she should eat, her toys, her clothes. I devote my mornings, evenings, weekends, and yet it is not enough. It is just not enough. And I have nannies, like I told you, I'm a very privileged person. I have house help, I have my parents at a call where, like, I've come here because there's somebody watching my kid at home. So I think we're all conditioned, and I'll still want to share one instance of one of my colleagues. She's also in the services, and she said, I've been actually doing as minimum as possible at work because I cannot take it. And I feel like I'm not able to give 100% at home also, because my child needs to be constantly looked after, and that is why I just want to survive in this job. Like, I can't take it, I cannot balance it, and I just want to survive here. And on the other hand, her husband, then I said, what does your husband think about it? And she said, oh, he's like, your husband thinks can contribute more if he gets more time. But there's a stark irony here, there's a stark difference. You'll have, because of the limited time, I think you should deeply dive into this topic. It is very essential, the irony that exists here, because either you choose, as women, either you choose to be a mother, you sacrifice to be a mother, or you become a superhuman. But if you become a superhuman, how can you do it all? Can any person do it all? And even if she decides to do it all, she will have serious consequences, serious side effects, and one of the most important being her health. And that's why I said ki health hazards, nobody pays attention. I have myself actually faced post mental traumatic experiences and everything else, but we never passed on that knowledge, and it is hammered within us, for centuries, that you have to go on, you have to put this role at the epicenter, you are this, your identity is derived from this, and you have to reach here. But I want to tell you, I want to ask you, everybody here, ki, is it enough? Like, how can we go on like this? Is it, what do we tell our children? Like, what do you tell your daughter? Like, I myself ask that question. Tomorrow, the guilt that I'm going through, if I have to answer something to her, what will I answer? That, because I have to, cater to your needs as a child, I gave up my career, I gave up my identity, I was drawn to that. And I look for her future, and I do not have any example to set for her if I do that. And that is what, we have to set examples as our individual self, and as an identity, as a human being, that shouldn't be wiped out or erased from our memories, to showcase that to them. And that is why we need that revolution. We need the change from us. That guilt has to go. That century-year-old guilt has to go, and it has to be done collectively, I feel. Like, one person does it, it's not enough. Everybody else, everyone in and around her has to help. Like, and that change, I call it from motherhood to parenthood. And that parenthood, there are several studies that I've gone through by trusted institution, which said that, women actually work for 5 to 6 hours daily for unpaid labor, and while men do it only for 13 minutes. Like, again, a very stark gap. Like, how do we relate to this? How do we fill that gap? And one person, like I told you, cannot do it. And then you are caught up in that serial drama also at home. Your mother is expecting, your sister-in-law, mother-in-law, everybody is expecting, your husband. And then the second question they ask is, what about the second child? Let me get through the first one. So, ye hona chahiye, like, we really need to understand what, as human beings, we go through, because at the end of the day, we have to answer our future generation, answer our daughters. We cannot perpetuate the lies that our mothers have been telling us. So that is what I have been telling you, that we have to march from motherhood, maternity to parenthood, and that is why maternity leave is not the end. It is just the beginning. Like I told you कि मेरा transfer होने वाला था, those issues actually feel very trivial now. When we discuss the larger picture, those things are very little when it comes to actually wiping out your own identity. You have begun from childhood, it should reach to a conclusive end. You have broken all kinds of glass ceilings, and then you don't want to be caught up again to start from zero. So that should not happen. And definitely then, as institutions, as government, as everybody around us, what should we do? We should definitely create that kind of environment for both our parents, have job, income security to both, less discrimination, protection from dismissal, right to resume, maintenance of wages. All these things are on paper, it has to be implemented well. Like I told you, these are the supporting mechanism. This cannot be the end. Like if I put it here, it cannot be resolved. It has to come from your mindset, I feel. Like in my office itself, like there were no creche facilities. Even I have created one. I don't think that women will bring their children. I would climb every day from for 2 years, for all my 9 months actually, I have traveled from first to fourth floor twice a day. And nobody in that office thought that there might be pregnant women who might be actually traveling all those floors, in that kind of office. So to imagine that kind of scenarios for your women, for your employees, I think is a must, because I am not the only person who was there as an officer. I had employees who were pregnant and who were doing the same. So we don't kind of nurture that kind of places and habitats for our, I think, working mothers. Then what further? Facilitate women, address parents' challenges. Many thought actually that there are certain stereotypical notions that, I'll be working mostly from home, I won't be attending meetings, or I'll have to puke most of the times, or maybe I'll go on maximum leaves even during the 9 months period, or I'll be less committed to do certain work profiles. I'll not take up a duty which is actually on field. Give me a duty, don't make me disabled. Now, if you're not creating an environment, it is as good as a disability for me. So motherhood, I think, tends to become a disability after a point if you don't nurture that kind of environment. And that brings me to another phenomena. When we talk about procreation, when we talked about so many things, earlier we were discussing about developed countries and how they do so much. And there was this, while actually scrolling through my phone, I stumbled upon this very difficult and very troubling trend of slowing population, and with a stark decline in fertility and birth rate. And in Japan, actually, there is a staggering fall of 100 people per hour. So imagine, like, so if you think, despite them giving so many facilities, incentives to their population and to their people and to their mothers and creating that environment, how are they going through such demographic crisis? It's too much, right? And then as a nation, for ourselves as India, we have to relook at our own definitions. We have to reconsider what is progress and development for ourselves. And we have to think about the advancement. And that brings me again to similar such points, like I told you, we have to make it a societal responsibility. That's how it is. You can't take procreation solely to be the job of a mother or her peripheral network that exists. We are doing this for humanity's sake. There's another, long ago, there's this serial that was there, I think, I don't recollect the name, but some maiden, we had reached a situation in an ideal where women were not able to procreate. And that's when, they had to go through all dictatorial rules to achieve that kind of situation where they would, snatch away, women's rights and put it in one corner. And so we don't want to reach that stage, right? Even in an ideal situation also, we don't want to do that. So I think it compels us to redefine what we have and nurture in our societies, and child rearing has to be a societal responsibility. And definitely we don't want to parent a mother, right? We don't want to be parenting her. We have to do it with consent and support and respect. And that is what we want deep down also, that prioritize the empowerment of women truly, in true sense, not for the sake of some regulatory authority, but that is because you think her perspective matters, and take steps so that sharing responsibilities becomes a norm at home or at office or otherwise. It has to be done. So like, if I have come here, my husband is watching, right? So he has taken that responsibility. It has to be done in that. Nahi, tum nahi ja sakti, tum nahi kar sakti, you can't do this, you can't do that. It shouldn't be in that manner. And make sure that working mothers are not only supported but celebrated. I think working mothers are the most efficient people out there. They are multitaskers, they are able decision makers, they are patient, and they are doing a lot of things. They are gaining a lot of skills while handling a child, and when they come back, that is every skill that is being wanted in an employee. So we should look at, we have to change our perspective to look at working mothers, and that is why we have to facilitate them and pave way for more equitable and inclusive society. And inclusive, I mean actually inclusive. Thank you so much. I hope that I hope I am answering a lot of your questions. If you have any questions, you can actually answer me. I'm here available for you. Thank you.